to cloud, I think that is. We're now recording. Okay. So we're going to sort of, all right. I'm going to edit all this because I've already spoke a lot. I want to script myself and start. So hi everyone.
Hi.
Okay, so it's so nice to see everyone again here today, obviously speaking about a new topic which I'm really excited about. And today we're speaking alopecia, dating, beauty and perceptions. These are really important conversations that need to happen, especially within this time where people are actually talking about, beauty in details. That the entertainment industry now is full of identity talks, perception, and the exciting part is we're going to be talking about dating as well. So you guys are going to be opening up about dating and inspiring other people to sort of follow your steps and how you handle dating, or if at all you have handled any dating sort of situations with alopecia. Firstly, I want to introduce Jessica, who is new Alopecia Awareness warrior joining us today. I just want to hear a bit more about Jessica. Jessica, what do you do for work and what are your interests? Is it beauty, fashion, entertainment? And we'll dive into the conversation after that.
So I am an administrator for a pension company at the minute, working from home, as we all are, I'm sure. And in my spare time, at the minute, I'm trying to work out so that when I come out of lockdown, I can be like, boom, fit and healthy. And I've started sharing my alopecia story on Instagram since the first lockdown. So I just spend time on that, like taking photos and thinking of captions and stuff that will help other ladies. So, yeah.
I saw that you were featured in the local, is it the local newspaper or is it the Metro?
I was in the Daily Mail. Yeah, I was in the Daily Mail and then the Metro and quite a few other newspapers. Like I think it went to Manchester and Liverpool, some of their newspapers as well. Because I was on Steph's Packed Lunch on Channel 4.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I went on there to raise awareness and then they actually saw me in the Daily Mail and asked me to go on Steph's Packed Lunch. So I did that, which was so scary. And I looked back at it and I looked terrified. But I think if I was to do it again now, I feel like I'd be a lot calmer. But at the time, I was so like, it's scary. I've never been on television before.
Like it's the first time doing something. And you know, with famous people as well.
And like they asked if my mum would come on with me, and my mum was like crapping herself as well. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm scared. Like, but yeah, it was an amazing experience.
That's How awesome. Did you end up on the show?
And so when I think a lady on Instagram, she was a journalist. She asked to take a story on me for the Daily Mail, and then I became an Alopecia UK champion. So it was my 15th birthday last year, and they asked me to be one of their birthday champions. And you had to do a challenge to do with the number 15. So I went to 15 places completely bald. So I hadn't been to many places bald before that. Only like my local newspaper and stuff. My local post office, sorry. So yeah, I went to 15 places completely bald, took loads of photos. I raised over £1,000 for Alopecia UK. And then Steph's Packed Lunch, somebody from Channel 4 rang Alopecia UK and said, can Jessica come on the show and speak to us about alopecia?
That is amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'd really love to do it again on like a different show, because I've done it once now. I feel like I'd be a bit more like zen about it, whereas on the show I'm like, the whole time. I can't even watch it anymore. It cringes me out.
What was the concept of the show? I didn't watch it. I have to find it on the catcher.
It's like a morning show, kind of like Loose Women sort of vibe. And she has like different guests come on the program. There was quite a few famous people. Which sounds really bad. I can't actually remember their names, but there was quite a few famous people. And then I was just sharing my story, and they actually spoke to a modelling agency called Zebedee.
Yeah.
And Zebedee offered me a modelling contract on the show, so there was like a live video of
No way.
Yeah, and I didn't know that was happening, and it was when like Corona, I think we were just about to go into another lockdown, And I said to like the lady, I said, I don't know, it was in Leeds. I said, I don't know if I feel comfortable like coming up. And she was like, oh, please, like, we'll put you up in a hotel. Everything's really safe. Like, we've got a big surprise for you. And I was like, oh, God. And then, yeah. It was good, but it was scary.
I suppose when somebody says that to you, you start, well, I would anyway, I'd start to think, oh my God, what are they going to do to me?
I didn't even know what like it could be at all. But I got all my makeup done professionally, and it was really fun. Like, it was a really good experience. I'm glad
it kind of feels like it happens very fast, from you being invited to to an appearance, and then after that getting a modeling contract, and next thing everyone's talking about it. It all happens really fast, doesn't it? Yeah. Once you become yourself and you open up, everyone knows who you are. Everyone kind of wants a piece of you. How did that make you feel? Like, was that overwhelming? Was that adrenaline, or was that just like, oh my God, what's going on here?
Yeah, I think because I only came out on social media that I was bald March last year, so like the first lockdown, I thought, do you know what, nobody's going to see me for at least 3 months. Like Boris has said, we can't see anyone for 3 months. So I thought, people will see me on social media, but maybe they'll forget about it, or like they'll have chance to actually think, oh, Jess is bald, before they see me in real life. And then just everybody was so nice about it, and like I only had like 300 followers or something on Instagram, and then it got to like 1,500, and I had like so many girls messaging me and saying how nice it was to see like somebody come out bald. And then when I came out bald, I just started noticing other bald ladies. And like before, I'd never even met one. And now I've got like a whole WhatsApp group with like 60, 70 other bald ladies on. And we all talk, and we've all done videos together. And yeah, I think it's really lovely, actually. I'm really, really glad I did it.
So how did you notice that? Obviously, I think we're just going to I'm going to connect what you've just said to our topics for today, which are beauty, identity, perceptions, and also obviously dating towards the end. But how do you think, where did that come from? You noticing that as soon as you came out, you noticed a lot more bald people. Did you have to join forums, or did they come to you, or did you find them they found you through you appearing on a sort of a public platform, which is a TV program? Which one do you think was the most effective method, and how did you get people to find you, and how did you find them? If that makes sense.
Yeah, so when I was posting like bald photos on Instagram, I was using like hashtags of like alopecia awareness, bald women, like things like that. So I think people just click on the hashtags, and then so if you've got alopecia, you could type alopecia in on Instagram, and it would bring up loads of other girls that have posted pictures with their alopecia. And I did like quite a lot of videos with all the girls. So there was this lady called Danny. And do you remember the Don't Rush challenge where everyone had a glass?
Oh, Danny's going to be doing we are going to be doing a conference with Danny. I can't wait.
Yeah,
she's quite big in that.
Yeah.
Yes,
that Danny with the amazing makeup.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so talented.
She's amazing.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, she did like a little mini alopecia series on YouTube, and like we were all saying how we got like when we got alopecia, how we got alopecia, advice, things like that. And then you just sort of meet girls. It's kind of just like that. You just meet one, meet another, then meet another, then meet another. And then I started doing the Alopecia UK thing in September, and then I went on telly in October. So it all just sort of.
I suppose from listening to you, it seems that social media is and will continue to play a big part in helping raise awareness for the cause, which is alopecia, because obviously from just what I'm hearing, it all started on social media. It's kind of helping as well raise awareness, showcase a lot of bald women who are doing different things, actually. I always say this when I go into the normal sort of fashion and beauty industry. I say to people that alopecia awareness does not just stop at a charity. There are a lot of bold women out there who are absolutely stunning and doing a lot of tutorials on styling, on makeup, and actually better makeup artists, because they've had to adapt to I'd say different type of skin and do it perfectly. than you would ever imagine. So the alopecia community is so rich in talent in so many different ways. Like we've got Faith here, who is hopefully going to represent us in the dance, the world of dance as well. And we've got obviously Colette, who's interested in theatre, singing. So I think that there is such a rich community, you know, there's a rich sort of pool of talent in the community that we need to kind of keep on showcasing. And from what I've heard from you, Jessica, it seems like you've already started doing that, and all that just needs to keep going, if that makes sense. It needs to keep happening as we go sort of move forward. Okay, so I want to go into this question because I think I am the right person to ask this, because I think you know, I've spoken to so many amazing women with alopecia, and I know you tend to be very polite in expressing your views with what's happening currently within the fashion and beauty industry, because you tend to kind of take up the silence of I'm not going to engage persona, I personally think. But I'm going to ask this question to everyone. What are your thoughts on models that are going out there and shaving their heads and being cast for different roles within the acting as well as the fashion industry? As someone with alopecia who already has, you know, a condition that obviously means you don't have hair, but you could take on that role. What is your opinion? I'll start with you, Colette, on this trend has been going on, the buzz cut. It's called the buzz cut. It's been going on for years, where models want to be noticed and they just shave their heads, they dye their eyebrows blonde, and then instantly they look like a model, and they're cast for a role by a casting director who could easily go into the alopecia community and cast someone who could take on that look at any time. What are your thoughts, Colette, on that? And is there any change that you would like to see, or are you happy with the way things are?
Okay, so I think probably it's all to do with what's in fashion at the time, isn't it? I think, you know, you're saying that there's a bit of a trend for that at the moment. And what do I think about it? I think that's fine if a model, you know, wants to shave their head, or if somebody, you know, a company has asked her to do that for a job. You know, I think they are entitled to do that. But what I would say is it'd be quite nice to see some more models with alopecia being represented as much as you know, models with shaved heads. And really sort of anybody with a visible difference, really. You know, I think it should be equal. Yeah, so yeah, but I can see what you're saying. It doesn't seem to make sense, does it, for somebody to be asked to do that? And, you know, who knows if that model is sort of comfortable with that, really. You know, maybe they're just doing that because that's part of their job, and when you're a model, if you want to get the job, that's what you've got to do, kind of thing.
I think
so that'd be interesting, yeah, to ask.
I think a buzz cut though is slightly different because it gives a different look, doesn't it? I'd love to have like a little short layer of hair. Like, I think that would look sick. Big hair, earrings, like. So I think if they're asking them to completely shave their head to like bald, then yeah, you should just try and find somebody that is already bald. But I think if you've got a buzz cut, then it's a completely different look.
Yeah.
No, that's actually a really detailed point that Jessica has raised there, because you seem to know which head is shaved and which head is alopecia. Whereas I think, coming from perspective of a general public like me, I would, if I was casting a model, see someone with a buzz cut and someone with alopecia is kind of in the same lines of looks. But it's so interesting that you've brought up the issue of detail. So as long as that cat is not as detailed as having alopecia, then there is room for models to shave their heads and represent a bald woman, because in the press, in the media, it will be classed as a bald woman. It won't be it won't be specific to say this is a girl with alopecia. It will be, this is a bald woman. It's so interesting we're talking about this, because it kind of brings back the conversation of alopecia in men. When a guy has lost his hair, like, you know, in his late sort of 40s, and he's going bald, he is stereotyped and looked at as someone who's had, or who's like tough and, you know, really scary. Yeah. But there's also this aspect of, if that man lost hair because of alopecia and they're not tough and they're not, you know, everything that you think, how do you differentiate that detail? How do you say this is the tough and this is not? And that's why, as someone who's interested in fashion and beauty, I feel like for the conversation to move forward, bald is bald, whether it's shaved or alopecia, it is bald. And both types of bald deserve the same respect and the same opportunities, I think. I don't know what you think, Faith. It's just kind of something I'm adding on.
Yeah, I kind of agree with everyone. I mean, the models that are maybe told to shave the hair and like have a buzz cut, I understand that, because for dancing, for example, I have been asked to wear wigs to look the part, or because it's a professional show, and that's not bothered me, because I know it's kind of for the client. And I'm still dancing, I'm still doing what I love. But I know a buzz cut is different to being bald, because I'm on that Cold Star now, and it's where it's like a casting app basically, and there's posts where they say a buzz cut model, like someone with buzz cut hair and not bald, like they want a bit of hair. So it's like I personally see them as different, because I see a buzz cut, I see as like stubble for me.
Yeah.
It's like, I used to have a bit of that when I first shaved my head, and now it's completely gone. So yeah, but then talking about men, I thought that was really interesting, because it's right, when you do see a bald man, you think, oh my gosh, yeah, he's must be tough and rough and everything, where in reality they could be actually really, really sensitive. And I think that's just society and how we've been built to view people, and I think that's what needs to change. So I don't mind when models are bald if they don't have alopecia, or if they do, it's amazing, because they're spreading awareness. And I just think it needs to be normalised. It's okay to be bald, and women can be bald, and so can men.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's so interesting you brought up society and how we perceive people, because I know that there are so many misconceptions we as humans have on people, based on race, based on gender, based on backgrounds, you know, ethnic backgrounds and culture. When you instantly see someone, I know personally, I have had so many misconceptions. Some of them I have kept I've kind of logged in my head, because I laugh just when I think about them. And so I know that, you know, we as humans can have these kind of instant misconceptions about people, and sort of judge them before we kind of get to know them. What are your biggest misconceptions having alopecia? What are the stories that you've had, or you've heard from the circle and the community that other people have had, that you could share with us, and just explain and clarify the facts rather than sort of repeat the misconceptions again? What are your experiences? Jessica, have you had any big misconceptions, and how have you handled the opinions that people have when they first meet you, before they even get to know you, and obviously cast an opinion or judgment on you? What are the biggest one with alopecia that you've had?
So I've got 3 really. So I was on holiday once, and I was drinking in the sun, and I was having a cheeky cigarette, and this guy came up to me and he said to me, "Oh, I'm really glad to see you drinking and smoking and stuff." He said, "I've got cancer as well." And I said, and I was like, he was like, I've had cancer, and I've just had my chemo and everything, and I'm fine. He was like, "But my wife, she doesn't agree with me drinking and smoking." And I was just like looking at my boyfriend at the time, like, oh God.
What do I say now?
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, okay, like, and then like probably like 15 minutes into the conversation, I was like, I don't actually have cancer, I have alopecia. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He was like, I just see you, and I thought I could say to my wife, look, there's somebody else who does it, like who's living their life while I have cancer. Anyway, he was really lovely, and we ended up spending the whole holiday with him and his wife, and we went back again to meet them, and I still speak to them. Like, I think some people do take it, find it quite offensive,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really find it offensive, because I think they're not saying it in a horrible way. Like, they're not saying it like to be horrible. That's like, if I had hair, I always tried to think how I would be. If I had hair and I saw somebody bald, that would be the first thing probably I would think as well. So it didn't really offend me that much. Another time I was in a swimming pool with my friend, and I was wearing a swimming costume, and this little boy shouting out, "Why is that boy wearing a swimming costume?"
No.
And I thought, oh, that's about me. And I went into the sauna and I just started crying, because I was that was before like I'd come out on Instagram and stuff. Down to the spa. I'm just on the video call. Sorry. Obviously
got your order in for spa, love.
Yeah, so this little boy shouted out like, why is that boy wearing a swimming costume? And I like went into the sauna and started crying, and his dad come up to me and said, "I'm really sorry, he's autistic, he doesn't understand." Oh. And I said, like, it's fine. Like, it was more the fact that he shouted it over the entire swimming pool, and I hadn't been bald that much, and I was a bit like and I didn't see him say it, but as soon as I heard it, I knew he was talking about me.
Yeah, noise really echoes, doesn't it, in the swimming pool?
And then I'd say, like, when I'm actually wearing my wig, a lot of people think that I'm quite like stuck up and not very friendly, because when I used to wear my wig all the time, I used to be so nervous that somebody would ask me if I was wearing a wig. I thought, if I just don't smile and look particularly friendly, people won't approach me and ask me questions. I was so nervous about people doing that I was obviously coming across in the wrong way, and I'd be like, no, I'm really friendly and nice, I promise. Just like, when I first started wearing wigs, I just didn't want to look at anyone in the face. I didn't want to smile at anyone. I didn't want anyone to have the opportunity.
So you don't want the attention, sort of thing.
I'd just be like,
yeah,
they're the things.
But have you ever had that thing where you're having a conversation with somebody that you first met, and they just keep looking at your hairline the whole time? So you're talking to them, and they're just like, every so often.
When they say,
do you want to ask me if I'm wearing a wig?
Yeah, you've got really nice hair. I always feel the need to go, thanks, it's a wig.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, but then I always think, you know, I wonder why they're asking. Are they asking because they know it's a wig and they want you to say, or do they just think your hair looks really nice? But I don't know, maybe the negative side of me always kind of thinks, I think they know.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I would rather them just say, is that a wig?
Mm-hmm. So there's always this thing that you have in your mind where you're kind of thinking, oh my God, I'm wearing a wig, I might have people questioning me. It's so interesting you say that, because I wear wigs. You know, my hair is not full. I don't have hair in front. I've just kind of patched it. My hair is just right here in the middle. That's why it's a small little bun, which I love so much. Like Christella said last time. So I do wear wigs, like, you know, the pictures, you know, that I've posted on Instagram, that's all the wig. Because obviously, again, that's another conversation altogether about, you know, hair, Black women and things like that. I've worn a wig for a long time. And I think it's something that you have to get used to. It's almost like you can draw attention as well to your hair, because I've only just started wearing my hair because my partner's family, who've never seen anyone wear a wig before, used to get confused when they see me wearing a wig today and then not wearing it, and then my hair was short and then suddenly it was long, and I had to come out and say, it's someone else's hair, like I'm just wearing someone else's hair. What do you mean you're wearing someone else's hair? Someone else's hair, because it's not mine, because mine's short, obviously. So you kind of can draw attention to your hair, because you're kind of worried that people will notice that it is a wig, strangely. But I don't know, I mean, that's just my experience as someone who's kind of experienced short-term hair loss, and then after had to maintain the hair that I had so that it doesn't all go away. Now I tend to just not wear the wigs. I just wear my little band everywhere I go, because you draw attention to yourself by wearing it. I show it in the pictures, but not necessarily when I go out, because it's hard work. So I think we'll go to Faith and hear the stories that you've had, misconceptions. The cancer one is quite common. Why people think that when you've got alopecia, you are going through some sort of chemo. It's very common, isn't it?
Yeah, I had that comment when I was in year 8. So I was 12, 13 when I had that comment first said to me, because I was at a fundraiser fair, and an elderly man came up to me and said, "Oh, I hope you." That's when I had my headband on, so I had quite a bit of hair, but it was obvious that I had bald patches. And yeah, he said, "Oh, I hope you get better soon. I wish you the best. I'll be praying for you." And I was 12, 13. I was like, "What? Sorry?" And he actually said, he was like, "Do you have leukemia?" And I was like, "No." It's like, "No, sorry." And it's like, I felt like I had to say sorry. And it was like, I felt guilty then that I was like, "Oh no, he's going to be really upset now." And it put me in a really awkward position. But obviously we carried on talking, and like he was fine. And I told him what it was and like the different kinds of alopecia. So it ended up being like a learning experience kind of thing, and kind of opening up my skin as well at 12 years old, 13 years old. But the other ones that kind of make me laugh. So when I'm working behind the till at the Arndale, I have had a few kids go, "Mum, is that a boy or a girl?" Because obviously we're just in uniform, and I'm like, "Oh,
kids just say what they think, don't they? They've got no like filter."
Literally, and I'm like, the other like co-workers that I'm working with, they look at me and like, "You're not offended?" I'm like, "The kids, they'll get it one day, it's fine." And it makes me laugh more, because again, it's just like the lack of awareness of it. Like they see a bald person and it's like, "Oh, why have they not got hair? It must be a boy." And it's like, well, hi, I've got alopecia. So yeah, but then the other misconception I've had was kind of a positive one. So it was when lockdown had like finished, the first lockdown. When the first lockdown had finished and clubs were open and things, me and a group of friends went to a bar just for a few drinks, and a lady came up to me and she said, "Can I just say you're so strong and inspiring?" And she was actually wearing a wig, and she actually had cancer. And then later on in the evening, I look over and I say to my boyfriend, I said, there's another bald girl over there. Who is she?" And I realised it's the woman who's taken a wig off in the bathroom. And so I know.
Wow.
So I was like, I just wanted to get up and hug her, but I was like, "Oh, social distancing, I can't do that." It was yeah. So I think there's some negative ones and some positive ones, and I just think like since I've shaved my head, I've always gone out bald. I've not worn a wig unless I've been performing. So yeah, but the main one, I still do get the, "Oh, how are you ill?" I still do get that one. But then it's just that's how it's spreading awareness as well, by just explaining to them what it is. So yeah,
I suppose it's kind of like it's a two-way sort of, if you wear your wig all the time, that means that you're kind of stopping someone else from gaining courage and being inspired by you, because obviously, like you say, Faith, you were in a pub and this woman had a wig, and she only took it off when she saw you doing it. So we want to see more people doing what it's almost like a topic of race or gender. You know, if you see a lot of people who are bi, straight, obviously there's a lot of straight people out there already, or a lot of people who are gay out there representing your community, you feel more confident as well in doing it because you've seen obviously someone else doing it. Yeah. So I think it's kind of like you have to decide within the house, like to say, okay, am I going to go out with a wig today? And am I ready to create a difference? Or am I going to go out without a wig and inspire someone? I don't know if that's how you think, but it's just me kind of listening to you and thinking from your experience, Faith, it's almost like you just making that decision. I'm not going to wear a wig today. You help someone who probably is not going to wear a wig.
Yeah, I think with wigs, it's always that you have to be comfortable to not wear it. And I think you can also show awareness with your wigs depending on how you style it. But as well, it's like I was really insecure about my alopecia until I thought, you know what, this wig is making me more upset than happy because it just wasn't fitting my style. So that's why I don't wear them. But then seeing people on Instagram, I'm like, oh, I'd really like a blonde wig now. So it's like, you know, like you can play with them as well. So Yeah, but I think as well, because I had people look when I did wear them, like in high school and college, I had people not looking at my eyes, they'd look up here. So I'd be like, hi. Like, what are you looking at? But yeah, I think it's just a confidence thing, and I think it's more comforting when you see other people that look like you and similar to you. It's a comforting feeling. So
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
It's really interesting, that thing about both your stories about the kids, because a lot of our ideas about people and the way people look are sort of formed when you're a kid, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you know, I just think that's why we need to see more women with alopecia and more different looking people on the telly, and you know, kids TV, and you know, all different types of media, really, because I think sort of when faced with that, ideas might change, you know, about, and it won't be so sort of, you know, shocking, if you like, for them to see.
Like putting people in boxes. It'll just
Yeah, because I've got kids, and I know like a couple of their friends. I mean, my kids are absolutely fine with it because they see me every day. But yeah, sometimes on the school run, you know, I'll see some of the other kids sort of looking, thinking, she's got different hair on today, and looking to see. And you know, I think some of them aren't that sort of secure with that idea, really, and it does make me wonder if they saw, you know, more people like me, if they would still feel that way. I don't know. Maybe they would.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Colette. I think it's a conversation that has been had for a very long time about having different types of people in mainstream media, and with the help of the internet, like Jessica, you know, was saying before, hashtags and groups that she's part of on WhatsApp that have conversations all the time, and what we're doing today as well with Hair Heals, trying to get a lot of people with alopecia within the creative arts industry, which is what we're trying to do long term, is to, you know, to raise awareness through campaigns that are within the arts, within the fashion industry, and upset the current trend, which is having influencers who look specific to represent the whole community, which is totally different. And the more it starts from the grassroots, yeah, the more we have these conversations, the more we're empowering each other to kind of go out there and start our own mini projects and do our own little things behind the scenes that will then force the structure to change altogether. And it will change. I am very confident that it will, because what I'm seeing with the alopecia community, with what you're all doing, is that, honestly, I was going to say this before, when I know when Jessica and Faith shared their story, the common trend I've seen is that you're so supportive of each other. You're so supportive of each other as a community of people who have full-blown alopecia. Because I know someone from Alopecia UK was having a conversation with me about Hair Heals, and I tend to say hair loss and alopecia, but alopecia is basically all types of hair loss, whether it's short-term or long-term. And I know that people with short-term hair loss, like I did experience, like postpartum traction alopecia, tend to get scared to join the alopecia community, which is your community, because they tend to feel as though they're intruding, or they don't have enough experience. And I think now, having joined the community myself, I have just seen how overwhelmingly nice everyone is to each other. And not nice because it's not nice because you're isolated and you're trying to create friends. It's a niceness that aims at actually changing that community and getting yourselves out there to the public. That's what I've seen as a trend. Everyone is so confident in supporting each other, in being their full potential. And I just wonder, where do you get this? Because honestly, you, like Faith was saying, oh, I tend to understand if someone says something. I just tend to understand that that's just a kid. I know that other communities, like, you know, whether we're talking about gender-based communities, people do get offended when certain things are said, and they protest and they campaign and they take it to the media. But what I've seen with the community with alopecia is there's this calmness. Where do you all get it? Like, is that something that just comes over time while you kind of learn how to cope with the challenges, or is that something that comes from the actual community when you get to know people?
I think when you first, sorry Jess,
I know you
do you
go.
want to go? Right. I was just going to say, I think when you first start, I mean, I've only just come onto Instagram really, and before that I was really struggling with my hair loss, but since joining Instagram, and I sort of get my inspiration from the other women that are sort of in a similar or same position as me, and I think we sort of everybody builds each other up really. And I think no matter if you've lost your hair, a little bit of your hair, if you've got alopecia areata, if you've got traction alopecia, if you've got I never know how to say this, is it trichomania? I don't know how to say it. Yeah, trichomania. And
I think I've said
any
it right.
sort of hair loss, I hope it's right. You know, everybody in that community knows what it's like to lose either a little bit of hair or a lot of hair. And I think regardless of how much hair you've lost, that feeling is still there. And so you all sort of identify with that really.
Yeah.
I don't know, would you agree with that, or I don't know?
Jessica?
I think as well, like losing my hair made me a lot more humble and a lot more like, I don't ever look at anybody and judge anybody, because you actually don't even know what they're going through in their life. And I think although hair is hair, and a lot of people say it's only hair, and I always think if you lost your hair, you would.
I hate that.
Like self-confidence is a huge thing to lose and gain again. Like it's a massive thing. And I think if you're strong enough and like you can carry on through that, then that's something to support each other for, because that's such an amazing thing to be able to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my God, you're all so inspiring. I can't wait for the doors to open up. We'll have like a women's conference.
I think as well, the longer you've sort of been dealing with it, the more understanding you get in a way as well. Like when it first happened to me, I was like all over the place, you know, didn't know where to go for any help, what to think. You know, you're all at sea, aren't you? And I think people who've been dealing with hair loss for a long time, I think it's nice for me to, even though I've only just joined Instagram, I have been dealing with it for a long time. And you know, I feel like I want to help people that are going through the same thing as I did however many years ago, or are going through what I do sort of every day, because it is really up and down. Like even now that I haven't had hair for a long time, I still have those days where I feel totally shit. And then other days I feel, you know, okay about it and look at myself and think, oh, you don't look that bad. So yeah, I think it's ever evolving really.
Yeah, I think everyone with alopecia, we've all got our different stories, but I feel like we all feel the same when losing hair, because it's just so. I know for me, I think when it starts, it's out the blue. You know, you wake up and it's like, oh my gosh, there's a bald patch. What's going on?
Yeah, because you lost yours really quickly, didn't you, Faye?
Yeah, so my started falling out when I was 10, and it just progressively got worse, then grew back, then it's like that hope, and then it's like losing it again. But I think in the alopecia community, I think we can all relate to that feeling. And when people say like, oh, I don't know how you do it, and it's like, well, you just do. It's like you just gotta get on with it, and you just learn to then deal with it, and you learn who to go to for help, and you learn who to look at, and you know, it's just yeah.
What about you, Jess? How was your hair loss journey? Like, was that quick or over a long period of time?
So I lost one of my eyebrows first when I was about 14, and I went to the doctors and they were like, it's probably puberty, and I was like, puberty, you're meant to be growing hair, not losing hair. and then my other
eyebrows.
yeah, and then my other eyebrow fell out. So we went to a private hospital in Chelmsford to see a dermatologist. Is that right?
Yeah.
And they said it could be alopecia, but they didn't really know why. And they said, like, change your diet, like try and be as ultra healthy as you can, stop drinking. But at this time I was like 16, I was like 16, 17, going out with my friends. Like I wanted to have a cheeky glass of wine or a vodka, you know, like you wanted to live
yeah.
And then I started to get quite a lot of bald patches and a big receding hairline. And they said to me, this was just before my 18th, it's causing you more stress to constantly look in the mirror and see your hair falling out, because it was quite gradual. It was like over 4 years, so it was like a slow process. but by the end of it, like there was just so many, I couldn't really cover it up. So I went to the hairdressers and got it all shaved off, and mine's never grown back since. But I'm actually quite grateful for that, because if it grew back and then it fell out again, like that feeling again, I just wouldn't want to go through that, you know. So I'd rather be bald for the rest of my life now than have any hope of having hair, because
I think just getting used to it, isn't it, as well? Like what you see in the mirror, whatever that looks like, you've got to get used to it. You know, so it's just going over it again, isn't it, of you know, how do I view myself now if it's changing all the time? That must be quite hard. Yeah.
And you know what, going back, I know because you've touched on to the hair not growing back, I think I've been asked a lot of questions, even though I've never had the answer to this, and a lot of people have wondered whether alopecia is genetic, meaning if you've had it, is it possible that someone else in the family will have it, or is it how did you find out what alopecia is in terms of, is it genetic? Is it something that someone else has had in the family before? I think there's a lack of knowledge of what alopecia is, and I'm sure you guys having alopecia, you've done a bit more research and you kind of understand how it works. Can you give someone alopecia by, you know, can you give someone alopecia? How does it, you know, because there are people who actually think if you touch them, you could give them alopecia, believe it or not.
I always say to my mum that when I have kids, I'm going to say, if you don't eat your carrots, all of your hair will fall out like your mum. So sit there and eat all of your fruit. No, you can't give somebody alopecia. Mine was put down to stress. So like I went to go and find my biological dad and he didn't want to know me, and I didn't feel stressed at the time. Like I'm really close to my mum and I've got loads of friends and like family and stuff, so I felt fine. But yeah, my body reacted to it by eating its own hair follicles. Like that's how my body deals with stress. So whenever I'm stressed, I can't notice now because I haven't got any hair, but whenever I was stressed, more hair would be falling out. But I never really felt stressed, which I think's weird.
That's really similar to me, because that was the case for me as well. So I was a stress head from 10 years old. And so that's when my hair started falling out, and it got progressively worse during like exam time. And now in uni, that's when it started going back, because I was doing the one subject that didn't cause me stress, which was dance, and that's when it started really thriving. But as well, over September, because I know September is Alopecia Awareness Month, on Instagram I posted a story of a fact or an experience for alopecia for the whole of September, and it can be hereditary, to which only my uncles had it. So I was like, I'm not going to say that's hereditary. And then it's like underlying health conditions and other autoimmune conditions, because autoimmune conditions like alopecia, they come in pairs. So if you've got one, you've most likely got another, and for me that was diagnosed as celiac. So that's when I went gluten-free. That's when my hair did get a lot better, until I was stressing too much and then it fell out again. But I think it's a combination of a few things, but I think the main one that's a common one is stress that brings it up first.
A lot of the girls on Instagram have eczema as well. I always feel really lucky because I don't.
Do.
Oh yeah. I always feel really lucky because I don't.
Which is, could you explain that one, Colette, as well a little bit? Can you go into details? I know I lost mine as well due to stress, obviously, a little bit. But what's the one you've just mentioned, Jessica? That most people have.
Eczema.
Oh, eczema. What's different? What's the difference?
Well, it's more like a skin condition. I mean, I've only got it on my legs, so I know some of the ladies get it really quite badly. I wouldn't say I have it really badly, but yeah, on my leg, it's just a patch that it's always there, really.
It's like a rash. It's like a rash.
It's a bit like an itchy rash that gets like sort of dry skin over the top, and if you scratch it, it gets worse.
Oh my God, that's so strange you've said that, because I have that. But I thought I have that because the products that I use for skin, you know, like I have to use organic skin products and stuff. But actually,
I think that I think that can cause eczema though, like I suppose it's a bit like alopecia in a way. Like I think it's it can be caused from inflammation from inside your body, but I think it can also be caused from products that you might use that your skin is irritated by.
I had it as a baby, so I was never allowed, or like a young child, I was never allowed to have like bubble bath or like perfume or anything that was too strong. But I think I've grown out of it as an adult now. But one of my good friends, she gets it really bad, bless her. And when she wears a wig, like, because I get wig sores like quite a lot. I never wear a wig anymore, so I'm all good. But she has eczema under her wig, and it looks so sore. And I think, like, I'm grateful that all I've got is alopecia. You know, like there could be so many worse things in the world to have than no hair.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. I mean, obviously, yeah, I do see that. I think people think when you have a condition like alopecia, all you have to do is take care of, you know, so also just you losing your hair on your head. But there's other little details. I always try and stress this, such as your eyebrows, eyelashes, you have to take care of, things that people might not even care to think of. But I think the outlook that Jessica has is quite a very positive outlook. With anything in life, I think you have to be thankful for what you have. And then that will kind of help you build on your confidence. That's just something that should be generally spoken to anyone. I think once you realize that someone else doesn't have the shoes that you have, someone else doesn't have that thing that you have, you can then move forward with confidence, knowing that it could be worse. But, you know, look, I'm here. I think that's a very, very positive outlook sort of to have. So we're going to go to my most exciting topic, because I'm in the arts entertainment industry as well. And I just want to find out from you all your interest in the arts, entertainment, creativity, if you have any, what you're doing about those interests, and if alopecia has helped or stopped you from doing any of them. You could share that as well. I will start with Colette. I know last time you nearly shared that with us. Music.
Yeah, so I've always liked sort of playing music and singing and acting, but I have in the past found that I'll sort of get back into it and then I'll lose my mojo a bit because of my hair loss. And I think it's the thing of I sort of suffer from a little bit of stage fright anyway, but I think then once I'm up there and I know that people are looking at me, because I'm only just exploring sort of doing things bald. And Jess and Faith are really inspiring me because they're just doing it and getting on with it. I think it's fabulous. And I love that idea actually of Jess's, you know, challenging herself to 15 places, going bald in 15 places and doing photographs. And I think that's probably what I'll do. I've been bald on holiday abroad and that kind of thing. But, you know, it's quite, I think every time you do it, it probably does get a little bit easier. But at that time when I did it, I don't think I was quite ready. And I think that's the other thing to say. I don't think you can do it until you're ready to do it. But sorry, I'm getting off the subject. I always do this, don't I? So yeah, in the past it has made me sort of lose my mojo a bit, and just the stage fright, and that on top of this little bit of stage fright that I get, it sort of made it all a bit too much really. So I still every so often put like a little video up on I've got another Instagram account where I sometimes do some music on there, and of course in these times now there's no opportunity really to do gigs or anything like that. But yeah.
What type of music?
Well, pop, folk, a mixture really. I don't tend to write my own music, which I've only written a couple of songs, which I'd like to do more. So I started doing that last year. And my brother-in-law, he's a musician, so he writes his own songs, and he wants to write a couple together. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But I've always played the guitar, but I've never been like amazingly good, just chords. So at home I just play my guitar and sing covers and that kind of thing.
Have you tried to join like a group before that loves the things that you love to do, or have you avoided doing that?
Do you mean as far as the arts
Music,
or anything?
songwriting?
Yeah, not particularly songwriting, but you know, acting. I've always done sort of, you know, amateur dramatics and that kind of thing.
That's good.
And been involved in groups sort of around where I live, which I enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've never done that completely bald, so that's probably a next step for me.
Ah.
Yeah.
I was actually probing, I was going to come to the question, you've answered it. Have you obviously received any support within the groups that would allow you to feel that I'm getting that support, now I can go on stage? Or have you felt that there was something holding you back?
Yeah,
Does that
I mean,
make
the only
sense?
thing that was holding me back was me, because
Okay.
every group that I've ever been in has just been full of really lovely people, really accepting people, all different types of people. You know, I think with the drama group, I would everybody's so sort of different and accepting that I would never feel like I was being judged by them. I think it, you know, it's always been me that's been the reason why I haven't done it. So it's fab now. I've found this Instagram community, and I just feel so inspired. It's amazing, and I think that was the thing that I was waiting for, really, and needing to take the next step and to get that confidence to do that. So thanks everybody who are following Instagram.
I think you've actually answered all the questions without even me asking you, because I think I was trying to get down to finding out what you need for you to continue with your passions and your dreams and in the arts, because what we're trying to do with Hair Heals is to make sure that we showcase people with alopecia with their talents on different platforms. And I think what I'm trying to find out with your help sort of is, what is it that we can do to help you as an individual to be your fullest potential, like within the arts, entertainment or beauty industry. And from what I've heard is you just want to be able to be part of a community that supports you, which you already have done and you're doing now. And then after that, you'll be more confident, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And
yourself.
actually, I have been in the past where I have had, well, one job in the past where I was working as an extra. I think we spoke about this, Claire. And I think if I'm in a situation where I know people want me to be bald, then I'm absolutely more than happy to do it. But if it comes from me, it's a little bit harder. I don't know if that makes sense, but I worked as an extra, and I was asked to do a spot on a medical drama, let's say, well-known medical drama, and it was kind of a bit of a funny day, really. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but it was to play a cancer patient, interestingly enough, after what we've been talking about, and it was to be in the background as the cancer patient at a hospital, and so part of me thought, this is a really good opportunity to just be bold and own it, and you know, and do that in front of a lot of people. And I feel better about doing it because I know they want me to do it. But then another part of me was thinking, oh, I don't know how comfortable I feel, like sort of pretending that like I've got cancer in a way. It just felt a bit strange. And also they wanted me to do it completely bald, walking around this hospital, and I thought, you know, somebody with cancer wouldn't do that. You know, you'd wear a headscarf or something, wouldn't you? But well, I don't know, maybe they would. But yeah, that did make me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but then on the other side of the coin, I felt comfortable for me in getting my bald head out because I knew that people wanted me to do it. And I think that's the thing, if I know people want me to do it, I'll basically do anything. Well, within reason. Yeah.
So again, that goes back to the casting directors, the people that are staging the platforms, whether it's in the acting, music, whatever sector, are the ones that need to be educated on how they handle people with alopecia. I think they need to be educated, because you came from a perspective where you were so proud and representing a a community that is not highly represented, but it just kind of feels like they do not understand your community. And but I think I say that to you last time, and I'll say it again, where you were coming from is it's the right place, but where the casting director was coming from is a lack of knowledge and education, because there are things you can't say to people with alopecia that could trigger certain feelings of discrimination, just like any other racial discrimination or gender-based discrimination. So I think him casting you as a cancer patient, I think he should have kind of sat down with you and found out. Actually, that makes me ask you this question. Did he know you have, or she know that you had alopecia?
Yes, I mean, that's why I was chosen. But then there is that thing to say of if you are an extra, then it is all based on looks, and the casting director will say, right, I need somebody that looks like this. And if you're on the books and you fit the bill, then you know that's the job then. So it's part of your job, really.
I actually got asked to be on a cancer advert on a charity who raises money for cancer, to pretend that I had cancer, but for like it was quite like a long advert, and I just thought, like, not that I don't mind people asking me if I've got cancer, but I know a lot of people take quite a lot of offence to that. Like, I see a lot of girls on Instagram like get upset over it, and I'm trying to be like inspirational to them people, and then if I was, because it would have just been me on an advert pretending that I had cancer. Like, if they could see me on an advert pretending that I've got cancer when I'm trying to prove that people should know alopecia, not cancer, all the time, it just felt really wrong.
And that's what I felt like on that day. I kind of felt like, I'm glad I'm getting to show my bald head, but then on the other hand, it feels a bit wrong that I'm pretending to have cancer.
You can't have me on an advert as like a normal bald person, but you can have me on an advert to pretend I've got cancer. Like, it just didn't feel. You should be able to be bald on an advert, like watching telly or eating something, like not just because it looks like you have cancer.
But it's that's what discrimination is. When someone makes you feel uncomfortable for either making either decision, they're discriminating against you in the first place.
On the other side, they I guess they need somebody that looks like they have cancer, and if somebody does have cancer and isn't well enough to be on an advert, we would be the next best thing. So it's kind of like, it raising awareness in some way, something for cancer, but not for us. So it's hard, really. Like, I wasn't offended, and I didn't, but I was just like, it's not for me. Like, I couldn't sit there.
Just feels a bit weird.
For a whole advert, like, it was a long script.
And obviously you have thought about your audience as well in your community, so you have you've come to a place where you're campaigning. So you saying no to that was you actually campaigning and saying no to discrimination. But I think it's the actual people with power that put you in that position. They shouldn't put you in the first place, because I know it's only a look. It's almost like, I don't know who I was having this conversation. Is it with you, Colette, of actors? There was this big debate about actors being given roles, i.e. if you're looking for an Asian actor, you will find a Caucasian actor who's got dark hair, tan, and then they'll act, or they'll get a tan and act that role and pretend they're Caucasian. So who is to blame for that? Is it the actual actors, or is it the casting directors? So you found that actors started refusing offers from casting directors if they saw that the script was for a different type of person. So I think it's the responsibility now of the big boys, the people with power, the producers, the people who create these shows, like, well, the shows which we can't name, the Gendo that Colette was on, to really understand that, they have the power to change the narrative, and to just change the narrative of how people perceive someone based on what they do. Because you did such a great thing, Jessica, in terms of raising awareness, but are they educated enough at understanding what that means? Is that charity that is doing such a great job for cancer aware of the fact that even though they are looking for someone who looks the part that actually they don't have cancer? Do they really understand?
It made me think, like, you know, when there's like a really sad advert, I'm a crier. So when something sad comes on, I'm sitting there, my heart's breaking for them. And I think, is that just somebody that's got alopecia? You know what I mean? Is that real? Do I need to cry about that? You know, like, it just baffled me, actually. I'm glad I didn't do it, but it did baffle me that I genuinely thought that obviously, like, they were people that had cancer, but
it's because they were sort of asking you to do that as if it's real as well. I mean, I suppose with my one, they kind of just wanted me to pretend. But I mean, they wanted you to pretend as well, but they wanted you to talk about your life as if that's the life you're living, sort of thing. It's it's a bit off, really.
Yeah, it was weird.
What are your thoughts, Faith? I know you're quite shocked and baffled. I think
it's just like Colette's situation. I see that as like it's an acting job, so you've got to like keep them separate almost. Like that's for your acting, even though you feel this way, it's like it's a job and it's an opportunity. But I can't believe about the advert though, because I think it is. I'd say it'd be like the casting agent's fault, because it's just their lack of awareness of how we feel about it. Because I know, like, I'm not that bothered if people come up to me and ask me, because I know that's just a lack of awareness and lack of understanding on their part, and that's what I tell them. But yeah, I'm just a bit taken back that, like, now I'm second guessing, like, is that advert real? Like, was that real?
I see you on the advert, like, are you okay now? And I'd be like, oh no, I don't have cancer, I just have alopecia. People would be like,
Do you know what though? I think so many people's lives have been touched with sort of cancer and losing loved ones to cancer, that if they see somebody like us, they feel like they want to reach out because it reminds them of their loved one, or, you know, and I don't really know how to explain it, but it's almost a bit cathartic for them, isn't it, to like want to help in some way, just to say, oh, you know, I think you're doing really well, or, you know. So I think there's that side of it as well. I mean, I don't personally get offended. It is a bit funny though when you see people and they've sort of got that look in their eye, like, oh, bless them. No, so.
Or say, oh no, it's alopecia, and they're like, oh
yeah,
no,
right. Not interested now.
You're fine.
Yeah, that's not going to make me feel bad. Go on. Yeah.
Oh God. So Jessica, I know I've been looking at your Instagram. Are you aspiring to be a model? Are you looking to do part-time modeling? To go in the fashion
She already
industry?
is a model. Look at her. Have you seen that picture of her with that blue dress on? Oh my God, yeah. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I mean, this is what they asked me on Steph's Packed Lunch. They were like, you'd like to be a model? And like, don't get me wrong, who wouldn't want to be a model? It's a bit like, I don't just look at myself and think I'm not model material, but I want to be a model in the sense, like, I want to walk past Topshop and see a bald girl in their fashion, like.
Yeah.
Or I want to see a fashion advert for like Misguided or something, or Pretty Little Thing, and see a bald girl on there. Like, Misguided have actually done a campaign, to be fair. So I'd like to be like a role model, and if that came into effect that I would become an actual model, then yeah, great.
Do you know what though, Jess? That makes me feel really frustrated to hear you say that you're not a model, because you are a model, and it really makes me cross that we've been made to think that models should only look a certain way and should only be like 5'8" or above, and have long flowing hair and long limbs, and you know. And I think anybody you know, should be able to model, but I don't think like the modeling industry is going to go from hardly using any models with alopecia to using anybody with alopecia. But I think it's people like you, Jess, that are young and gorgeous and slim, but I've got alopecia, that are going to be like the bridging gap between, you know. I don't think you could just go from hardly using any to like using anybody, but I think the young gorgeous girls with alopecia
should go for it.
Go for it, yes. Why aren't they being used more? Makes me cross.
I do think that, like, because I'm on somebody's books to be put forward for modelling jobs. It's Zebedee specialise in people with visual differences or disabilities. And I do think it's very much like, at the moment, everything's really hyped, isn't it? Like, it's almost cool to be different. It's almost cool to not have hair. It's almost cool to be disabled, to have something different about you, which I love. And it's very much show who you are, like, be proud of it and everything like that, which I really tried to do. And then when, it sounds really silly, but if you don't get picked for something, it's almost like, oh, I need to get back in my box. I am bald. Do you know what I mean? Like, you try and be confident, and then I think when you get knocked down, because you're not quite as confident as perhaps like you'd like to be, it's such a bigger like whack to them.
Yeah, I guess so. I can see that. But it is all, I mean, I'm trying really hard at the moment to sort of, I do suffer with self-esteem, but it's not listening to the negative voice and listening to the little positive one that goes, no, you're you know, you're amazing, or, you know, whatever. But it is that battle every day, isn't it? And I can see why, you know, you would feel like that.
I think I've always said, obviously, apart from this, obviously, without doing conflict of interest, I am in the fashion industry. And I think I'm a strong believer in engaging, as someone with alopecia, getting involved with what they call the normal people, meaning modeling with the normal people as much as you can, so that you grow your profile to be a top model. Like Jenna Tanner had to compete with people with hair on America's Next Top Model for her to become a top model. So I think one thing that kind of I could sort of put into the community in terms of my perspective of if someone wanted to be a model and they had alopecia is avoid doing shoots just with people with alopecia because it's comfortable, it's a safe zone. Try and push yourself by doing a lot of I say shoots that are with other, you know, communities as well, because then if you do go into a casting and there are people who do look different, who can trigger you, like they've got long hair, you go in there confidently knowing that you have experience with working with people who look a certain type of way. It's the same with, I think, Faith being in the dance community. You do work with, you said last time that your alopecia didn't hold you back. And I think it comes back to the point that I'm trying to sort of say here, maybe you're not held back because you've worked with a lot of people who dance for a long time anyway. It's nothing new to you. If you see someone, you'll be like, okay, let's dance. You won't be like, oh my God, I won't dance because they've got such long hair. And that's because you probably have done it a lot. You've pushed yourself already past that barrier. I mean, that's my sort of personal opinion when it comes to fashion industry. What are your thoughts in terms of, is it entertainment arts that you're in, and has that held you back? I know I've already spelt the beans, but you can tell everyone what your thoughts are yourself.
For me, it acts as a bonus because I don't have to deal with sweaty hair. I just get a rag and it's kind of sorted. But I think as well, like I've always danced with people that have a full head of hair and have it in ponytails. And at my old dance school, I had to try and put my hair in a bun. And I did have to wear wigs for shows. So I just kind of dealt with that. But I kind of saw dance as separate. And I don't know how to explain it, almost like it's like a typical dancer answer, but it's almost like a space where you don't have to think about anything and you can just be you and almost own it. I think that's what the learning process is, just to own it. Like, yes, I'm bald, what are you going to do about it, you know? So it's, I think as well for dancing, I know from a few people that I've spoken to, they have said that being bald, you can be more bookable because you can wear wigs and you can, you know, you can show a certain like emotion, or I don't know, but it's like a blank canvas almost, you know. And there's a beauty behind that in terms of, you know, you can own it and be yourself as well. But I think with dancing, it's just always been like, oh, get home from school, oh, got dancing at 4, like it's just kind of been a routine. And then when it started to be serious and I went to uni, and now I'm last year now. I think it's just like the confidence in myself has grown because of my dancing, and I've noticed that when I shaved my hair, my dancing got better, because I wasn't bothered about my wig falling off or my headband falling off, when normally I'd be really embarrassed if that happened. But now I've accepted that, you know what, I don't want my hair to grow back. Like I'm really happy being bald. That's boosted my confidence even more.
So you basically like took the control back, didn't you? Of not having to worry about, oh my god, my wig's going to fall off halfway through the performance, or
it's like
that kind of thing.
Controlling me anymore. It's like I'm controlling it. Like it's made me who I am today, you know.
I mean, I suppose...
I'm really interested. What can I just ask this, Claire? I was really interested to find out about. I was really interested to find out about at what point did Faith decide that she just wasn't gonna wear the wigs anymore.
Okay.
I'm just really interested if there's like an actual moment where she went, you know, and what was it? Sorry, Claire.
No, that's a really good question.
I came out, as to say, when I was 18, and it was the Sunday before I went to uni, and I was in a bar with my friends, so I just did it. I would just post a photo and then was like, no, I'm not looking at it now, I'm wanting another drink. So that was how I outed myself. And I went to uni knowing that I don't want to dance in a wig, because I actually had a situation where at college someone actually stepped on my ponytail by accident, and my wig fell off, and that was the most traumatizing moment for me, and I didn't want to show my face again. But everyone there that saw, and their support, it was like, you know what, I don't need this wig to dance in, you know, it's still me, you know, this wig is actually holding me back from dancing, because I'm worried about it falling off, you know, and I shouldn't be. Like a wig, something that, you know, you should own as well. But I'd probably wear my wig. I wore my wig more if I was like going to the shops. The moment when I said that I'm never going to wear a wig again was in my second year of university, and it's my boyfriend really actually did. He shaved his head for cancer awareness, and secretly he was like, "I'm proving to you that you don't need hair." And that to me was like, I can't believe you've done that. And for me as well, it was like, you know what, I don't need hair. Like, so going to second year of uni, and I brought my wig to uni, but I never wore it. And then when I shaved it, it was because I went to an interview, and I ran my hair from my ponytail to like brush it, and a massive clump of hair came out my hand, and I was in a taxi, and I was like, what can I do with this now? So I had to put it in my pocket. And the fact that I had to put all the hair in my pocket, I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I holding it? Why am I carrying my hair around? So
I've got a little fur pet.
Yeah, I know. And so I got back to the flat, and I went to dance the next day, and I just said to everyone, like, where's the closest barber? I want to buzz it off. And that's when I was like, I'm not doing this anymore, because it's just caused me so upset seeing it fall out. Like, I wasn't bothered that I was going bald, because I knew it was like inevitable. And I had accepted that, but it was the fact that I could see it fall out and see it on the floor when I was dancing. That's when I was like, no, not happening anymore. So that was when I decided as well to not wear wigs. And I think the wig I had at the time, or the wigs that I've got, were all very itchy, and I was like, no. So that's why I don't wear wigs anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely more comfortable not to wear a wig, isn't it?
Yeah.
Except for getting a bit cold.
Oh, very. But then you get like hat collections, so it's
That's really interesting that it was quite nice to go to uni at that point, wasn't it? Because it's almost like you got like I don't want to say a fresh start, but it was
like a fresh
I suppose
start.
It felt like a good time to sort of transition that part of your life, sort of thing.
Yeah, it was just about, I think when I went to uni, I realised that, you know what, I can dance, like I can do this, you know, like I love dancing, and like my hair, and no one should be able to hold me back. And that's when there was a massive confidence boost for me, which is when I went to uni.
But the thing with me as well is I always think, I feel like I find it harder to go bald, say if I was just walking down the street here, because I live in a village and everybody's so like, knows everybody, you know, knows everybody else, and
No,
and nothing like different ever happens.
That's my hometown.
Whereas I feel like when I'm on holiday where nobody knows me, I feel a lot more confident to do that. So yeah.
So I know
Yeah,
for me back at home, it's literally like a Sleepy Hollow. Everyone knows everyone, and I feel like I'm like the bald girl of the village, and everyone knows who I am. But that's just because my mum knows everyone. You know, we'll go on a walk and she'll end up talking for 10 minutes to every single person. So it's just, I think as well, I think the first time I went out bald, I remember, it's going to sound very holistic, but I remember seeing a sunset, and it was almost like a sign of like, yeah, I've done the right thing here. But yeah, I just think the more I go out, the more comfortable I am. And yeah, if people look at me, it's like it doesn't bother me because I'm not looking at them. I'm not looking for people looking at me.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
So,
That's true, because when you're not looking at someone, you really don't care if they're looking at you. It's like social media. If someone's stalking you, you really don't care as long as you're not stalking them back.
Yeah, I think the biggest one for me was getting over the thoughts that people had about me, because I knew that I'd get loads of stares walking around a shopping centre, but if I didn't pay attention to that, it just doesn't bother me. But when I see them looking at, that's where I'm like, oh, stop looking at me. So yeah, I like force myself not to look at them, which is now just natural to.
I'm gonna try that.
Own it. That's all you've got to do. Just own it.
If they stare at you, just stare at them back. Just be like,
just glare at them. Like,
oh, Jessica. Honestly, that's what I do when I go somewhere and everyone's staring. I do that stare back. But someone said, "Oh, you're scaring them more if you're staring at people because they're looking at you because you're different. You're scaring them because you're like, what?" We're going back. We're going back to that thing
I was just going to say, you could just do that thing that we used to do at school where you went, "Do you want a picture?"
It'll last longer.
Or do you know me from somewhere? Okay, so this is the last topic, and I'm so excited to hear what you guys are going to share, because obviously alopecia, the whole awareness of alopecia got out there in the mainstream once there was a few people on first dates with alopecia, and so actually, you know, the surprising part is I've seen a lot more people on first dates who've experienced hair loss since Eve went on first date. So dating with alopecia is quite a big conversation, and I am so interested and intrigued to kind of find out your different opinions, because you all have different stories. Colette is married. I'm not sure about Jessica's relationship status. I haven't had enough time to dig. But I know Faith has spoke about her boyfriend quite a lot. So I guess my question is, how do you date when you've got alopecia, pre the boyfriend stage and the husband stage? I'll start with Jessica because we don't know much about her dating life. Hopefully she could share that with us, and you know how she's obviously maneuvered around the dating world, and how you put yourself out there when you've got alopecia. Do you go in with the week first and then slowly introduce the alopecia to the person, or do you go in head first and just be like, this is who I am, take it or leave it? And funny stories as well of what you've experienced. Don't just stick to the good ones, the success stories, Faith and Colette. Share the funny ones as well, with the non-successful dating experiences. I'll start with Jessica.
Sorry, Jess. Can I just ask, can you see me all right?
Yes.
Or can you just see the bald head?
No, I can see it.
The sun's coming right in, and I'm thinking, is it like focusing on the sun and like so you can't see me? Has it gone really dark, or is it okay?
The sun's focusing on you actually, so I think it's dark on the sides for me.
Okay, but you can still see me. Okay, that's fine. Sorry, Jess.
So when I started losing my hair, I was 14, and I actually had a boyfriend then for 4 years. So I had a boyfriend while I was losing my hair, which I think was really good for me, because I think I'd met him before. I knew he already loved me, not being big-headed, but, you know. And I knew that me losing my hair wouldn't change that. So I think that was quite a comforting thing, to have like a best friend and a boyfriend at the same time there the whole way through when I lost my hair. But then it made it worse when we split up, because I hadn't known anything other than to have a boyfriend with no hair. So I didn't really, I was probably 18 when we split up. I don't remember really, like, I didn't go on any dating websites or anything like that, and I haven't really become as okay and confident with my alopecia until like the last year, perhaps. I couldn't imagine, I would never have gone on like Tinder or whatever they are and put a picture of me ball down. I would have just acted like I was hairy and then see what happens. But I remember I was dating this one guy for a little while, and I stayed at his house, and I woke up and I used to wear my wig to bed, which is awful. I hate wearing wigs to bed, but I used to do that all the time. And I remember waking up and like my wig had got stuck under his armpit, and my wig was like sitting on his chest, and I was the other side of the bed. And I was like, oh my God. So I had to, like, without waking him up, like pull my wig from under his armpit and like pop it back on. But yeah, I tried to keep it a secret for ages. Like I remember saying, I won't be long, like I'm just washing my hair or something, and he'd be like, oh, you blow dried your hair within like 5 minutes, and I'd be like, yeah, like I tried to pretend like I had normal hair until I absolutely needed to. But I'm currently with somebody at the minute who I've been with for 3 years, and I didn't tell him at the beginning either, but he knew, and we went into a sauna once, and I was like sweating out with my wig on. And he always says to me, like, I remember sitting there looking at you sweating, thinking, why doesn't she just take her hair off? But you still hadn't told me, so I didn't want to say anything.
That's so sweet.
And then, like, in the end, I said, like, I've got something to tell you. I actually wear wigs. I've got alopecia. And he was like, yeah, I know. Like, everybody knows. And I was like, I thought nobody knew. Like, I used to work in a hotel. I thought nobody knew in the whole hotel. He was like, everybody knows, Jess. Like, everybody thinks that you look amazing with wigs and all this. I think now if I was to become single, I'd just, even if I was to go on a dating website, they'd all be bald photos. Like, if you don't like it, move along, you know, swipe left, don't come here.
I've only ever sort of been completely bald while I've been with my husband, and before that I only had like really little patches under really thick hair, so I didn't even think at that point, I think I've got alopecia. I just thought, oh, I've just got a little bald patch. And I probably at that point should have gone to the doctors, but I didn't bother because I just didn't equate it. And then since sort of being with my husband, then that's when it's all fallen out really. So I don't really have any dating stories.
So
yeah, that's it. Blame him. So stressful being married to him. Yeah, so but I will say that when it first happened, I kind of was really worried about what his reaction would be. I mean, he's been there with me, and it was a gradual thing, and you know, he helped me shave the last bits off and all that kind of stuff, and he was there to hold my hand. But I've always got this sort of, not so much now, but I always had this guilt feeling of, you know, I'm not the person, I don't look like the person that he married. And does he ever feel like a bit cheated that, you know, I don't look the same anymore, or don't know. I mean, obviously he's never made me feel like that at all, and he's always been super supportive. And you know,
he's already
really
gone past Colette, he's already gone past the stage of thinking that. In psychology, he's probably now in the attachment stages where he just loves. You go past that after 2 years. So after 2 years, I'll just have you whichever way I can have you, as long as you're next to me. I always say that. So I wouldn't worry about that at all.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I guess from what I've heard from both Jessica and Colette is that you've had really supportive relationships. And I know I've met, you know, one girl with alopecia who was finding it really, really hard to meet someone that they could be in a relationship with, because they had the same insecurity, which is there's a lot of Instagram models out there that have got this hair, and every time I kind of start dating a guy after a while, it all just seems to go down south. Is it south? Is that the word, down south? Because obviously I'm not sure. Obviously Jessica is in the south, so I don't know if it goes down south because I'm in the north.
I think you say it goes south rather than goes down south.
Oh my God. So yeah, I know that there's a lot of girls within the community that have really found it hard to find that special someone. Is it because when they first start dating, they probably are too insecure and they haven't gained that confidence? Or is it because obviously the person that they're with is just not the right person? I think we'll ask Faith this one, because Faith has to share her dating story as well.
With my experiences, it's been the guys being arrogant. So before I met Brandon, I had never had a boyfriend, and so I came to university single. And the thing was, like, everyone was like on Tinder, and then Bumble came out, and then I was on Bumble. Tinder
What's
was
Bumble?
Honestly,
so Bumble.
So old.
Bumble is where I met Brandon. So we actually met on Bumble, and it's where the girl has to message first instead of the
no
boy.
way.
Yeah, so they actually give you little prompts of like little pickup lines. It's just like, this is too cringy to. I was like, hi. So yeah, but Tinder, there was a lot of arrogant people. It's not really, for me, that's not a dating app anymore. Yeah. So yeah, but I did find there was a few boys that I spoke to on there that when they found out about my alopecia, they were supportive and they asked questions and things, but they never asked me out on a date or anything, and they must have, no, I don't know. And then there was one occasion where I was talking to someone and they added me on Instagram, and then they direct messaged me on Instagram and said, oh my gosh, you're wearing a wig? And I said, yes, I got alopecia, and he blocked me after he found out.
No.
Yeah. To which I was like, right, okay then. So it upset me a bit, but like not that much, because I knew that like
you don't need those kind of people.
Like I'd rather have seen that then, you know. Another person called me, and because we were talking for a bit, and he called me and he said he can't imagine like touching my hair. He said he might feel like straw and he'd be put off by that. So I think in my experience it's been the arrogance of the boys. So yeah, and I think as well just being a lad and their behaviour. But when I met Brandon, it was straight away, like he wasn't asking about my dancing, it was asking like what kind of dancing I do, and he actually mentioned ballet, and he got me talking about ballet, and it was just a completely different conversation. And I didn't actually tell him about alopecia until our first date, and I told him, and I showed a photo of me, and he was like, yeah, what's the problem? And I was like, oh, okay, you're a keeper, like, fine. And then
Brandon sounds lovely.
Yeah. And so yeah, and he's been really supportive of me, and even from day one he's always said that he can imagine me one day being bald, like he can't imagine me with hair forever. So yeah, and then
wow, that's so nice.
And then in the summer of 2019, he, like I said before, he shaved his hair for cancer research, for fundraising, and it was like a side note to me, as if to say, like, you don't need hair, like, it's okay, I'm going to be here for you. And he was there when I shaved it. He actually shaved a bit of the hair off for me as well. So yeah, he's been a big supporter for me through this. So yeah.
So it's basically finding, just like any other person, I suppose, with or without alopecia, any relationships, any types of dating, you do want to find someone who has respect for who you are, your past, present, and your future.
Yeah.
Because I know my partner obviously is not the dad to my son. My son's dad didn't know that I experienced any hair loss, so clearly there clearly wasn't any, the connection was not that strong for me to share my experience. But with my current partner, everything is shared. And even though everything is shared, including me having to have a son before we got into the relationship, but I know that there's a stigma as well of girls having a child, meeting someone. So it's kind of similar in the sense that it's not you, it's the person. I mean, you get blocked if you've got a child as well, and you're trying to date and the guy finds out. You do get blocked, you do get unfollowed. So it's kind of similar. I'm surprised that it is quite similar. But I think the moral of the story is that you need to find someone who will accept you with or without alopecia, and finding that person requires what does it require?
I think it's just being yourself, and for them it's just a level of acceptance as well, of like not wanting a particular kind of person, like not wanting a tall blonde brunette person, like actually looking for someone that they, you know, want to spend like a past, like you said, like past, present, future with. I think for me with my because I did more online dating than going out and meeting people, so I think for me my profile was up me with my wigs on, and I think looking back now it would have been completely different if I had worn my headband, or now if I was ever single then I would be bald and do it that way, because then you if you're going to get someone that's real and not someone that wants you for a certain look. So
yeah, that's it. You're definitely going to find out if they're shallow or not. And if they can't look beyond what somebody looks like, then you probably don't want to be talking to them anyway, do you?
No.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I have on Instagram, on my other account, I sort of came out as having alopecia as well, and I had quite a few blokes who were following me then unfollow me, sort of when I sort of outed myself. But you know,
is that the unfollow that I think we're going to touch onto social media, because I think in some of the topics as well in future we will talk a lot about social media and how it influences how you feel, and I suppose, is that blocking a way of them rejecting you, or is that blocking a way of them refusing to be educated about who you are?
It's both, isn't it?
I think it's just their arrogance as well, of like they don't want the hassle. Maybe I don't know. It's like, for me, it's like they were still young and they were boys, and I didn't want one of those, you know. Like I knew I wanted a relationship. So.
Maybe they think, oh, I don't want to put myself in that situation. I don't know what to say.
Might just feel sort of awkward about it, just from there for them.
It's so new.
Because dating and relationships are a two-way thing, so you might not like them either. So it's a bit extreme to block someone because you think they might not be your type, or for whatever reason. It's a bit extreme, because once you're dating someone, you actually have to get to know them. You have to get to know them too. You might not like them. So there's a chance that them not giving you that opportunity to be you is a loss for them, because they don't know as well what you thought about them.
It's difficult as well, isn't it? Because I suppose unless they say to you, I'm not interested in you because you've got alopecia, you don't actually know why they're not interested in you. And it might not even be because of your alopecia, but because of the way you view yourself, you always think that it's because of that.
Again, it goes back to society and perceptions and what they see in the public, in the media. Again, if everyone else, I think sometimes people think, if everyone else is not dating this type of person, I don't want to date this type of person. Sometimes people are kind of influenced by what they see. They don't want to be in the niche of, I am the only one dating someone different. They'll rather just kind of follow the trends and what everyone else is doing. But I personally find it really shocking that someone could go to the extreme of blocking someone initially when you start dating, because I think they might not like you either, whether they have alopecia or not. So why not just fill it out and maybe just let it fizzle out on its own?
I remember I was at a bar once and I was speaking to, like, me and my friend were speaking to these group of guys, and I was speaking to one in particular and it was going really well, and he was like, he said, oh, come over here a second. I thought, oh, he's going to buy me a drink. And he turned around to me and he said, I've heard you used to be a man. And I went, excuse me. And when I've had a couple of glasses of wine, I'm a bit Barry, you know, I'm a bit feisty. And I was like, excuse me. And he was like, yeah, I heard you used to be a man and you wear wigs to cover it up. And my heart just like into like 1,000 million pieces. I said to my friend, like, come on, let's go. And she went, they're about to buy some drinks. I was like, no, I was like, they're all like absolute.
So rude.
I was like, I need to go. And I was crying. Like it, and I was like, where did you even hear that from? He was like, I can't tell you. And all of them, because it was a stag do, there must have been like 10 of them, were all talking about it the whole time. And I just thought, I was sitting there not even thinking that they were thinking that.
It's almost like there's always like this group of people that see someone who's living confidently in their truth, that want to just break you for unknown reasons, without really getting to know you. It's almost like he saw you having a good time, having a laugh. He should have just left you to enjoy your life. But it almost seems like he wasn't happy seeing you happy, and he felt the need to say something totally irrelevant, which is disappointing.
When things like that happen, like it sets you back for ages, I find. Like I can be really, really good, and then one thing will happen and I won't want to post on Instagram ever again, or I won't want to leave the house board ever again. Like I'm quite sensitive like that. So when that happened, I think I'm growing out of it now, because if somebody said that to me, I'd just, like, it wouldn't really bother me. But that was like a couple of years ago, and it was more shock, like people think that. Like, how big did you have to be to think I used to be a man, and that's why I'm wearing wigs? Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's just, I mean, that to me is just like ugly behaviour. And I would just say to myself, well, that person is, you know, he feels he can judge me on the way I look. Well, sorry, mate, but you're actually really ugly. And that's how I would sort of deal with it in my head. But, you know, I definitely can see how it would, you know, well, it would affect me, definitely. Yeah.
It's always easier to like date somebody you're friends with, or like because then they know that you've got alopecia. I'm not one to really like to get to know somebody first, you know.
Does it take a lot of bravery then to put yourself on a dating platform like Faith did? Because I think, Faith, you're sort of the first person I've heard, you know, within the community that's actually had the courage to put yourself on a dating platform. Jessica, did you meet your partner on a dating platform, or?
No, we worked together. So.
Oh, okay. So going back, Faith is the only one that was brave enough to meet her partner, who's very supportive as well on a dating site. That must take a lot of, bravery on your part to just put your pictures up and talk to him after, you know, when you meet him about alopecia.
Yeah, well, I think for me it was, I knew I wanted a relationship. Like I didn't want to fling. That never interested me. I knew I wanted someone that I can rely on and not take care of me, but I can have that supporter and like a best friend. And I know I was 18 and I was thinking that, and I know that's quite young for like majority of girls to want a relationship that young. But that's just what I was looking for. And so the boys that would kind of dismiss me are the ones that weren't looking for that and weren't interested in the relationship. They wanted a fling or whatever. But I think also for online dating, for me, because I was at university, it was almost like the comedy factor behind it. Like they would laugh at the comments and the conversations, like with friends. But that's just like the girls being girls, you know, and sharing like what's been said in the conversations and gossiping, as per se. But I think as well, it was like I wasn't confident enough to wear almost be myself at a club or at a bar, or go out and talk to someone and approach someone. Like I wasn't confident enough to do that. So for me, it was almost like the terrifying thing for me was telling someone that I had alopecia, because that's why I posted the photo on Instagram. I posted it to tell everyone that I had alopecia and that I'm going to own it now. But also, so at university, people didn't have to ask me. I'd follow them on Instagram and I'd hope that they'd have a little scroll, because I always did have a little nosy, and then they'd see my photo and then they'd know that way, so I wouldn't have to have the awkward conversation like 10 times.
Yeah, it's sort of like getting it out there, isn't it? So,
Yeah,
that, like, you can be in control of that, and like you feel like you're not going to get found out, sort of thing, that you're wearing wigs.
Yeah,
yeah.
That was also the motivation for the photo, because I didn't want the same like conversations to keep coming up that I had in college and high school, because it just wasn't fun for me, and it dragged me down more than pulled me up to have like having to repeat myself so many times. Which, like, obviously people come up to me in like and ask, you know, why am I bald? I'm happy to talk to them and have a conversation about how like, because they're interested. But I think as well for online dating, it was when they saw, because I wanted them to get to know me, like my personality before my looks, because that's what I always put first. Because I need someone that makes me laugh as well. So yeah, but I think with the age bracket that I was going for as well, I think there was a lot of arrogance in that age, where if like older men and older men would have probably more life experience and be less judgy. So yeah, I think it's just for me, like, I wanted a relationship, and I felt that that was the only means I could go about getting a relationship, and I was very shy as well. Like, I would never have I would never be on here, I don't think, if I hadn't have taken the step and gone to uni and, you know, till like outed myself. So yeah.
All right, girls, I've kept you for an hour 6 minutes. That's how long this Zoom has been, but I've had so much fun, and I've enjoyed talking to you guys about these topics: dating, the arts, perceptions. Oh my God, it's been so fun. And I know I can keep going. Like, I can keep asking questions and just going and going. I know you can all keep going as well.
Yeah.
So obviously, as we close off, what's your next step, Jessica? What are you planning to do in relations to alopecia, you know, raising awareness? Are you still with that modeling agency? And if someone was watching this, how can they find you? Because I know Jessica's Instagram is so contradictory to, like, the username is not her name. And it's so funny because I kept calling her username, which is like, it's never, I kept calling her Neve. I was so sure her name's Neve. I was like, her name's Neve. I shouldn't forget.
Is she meant to be speaking to a Neve and I'm not actually meant to be going on? I was like really concerned about it.
I bet I'm not the only one who thinks that, because it looks like Neve. I don't read, you know, I didn't read the whole username. I just thought, what could be the name? And I thought, I think her name's Neve. But when I went in the emails, I couldn't find you, because I thought she was Neve. I couldn't find her because I couldn't search for a Neve. So what's your next stage as we close? Like, what are you going to be doing with raising awareness? I would say, as an individual, are you going to be putting your face out there in the public? Are you planning to, this is quite a long question, but where can people find you if they wanted to sort of see what you're doing in your work? What's your username on Instagram and things like that?
So my username on Instagram is Never Too Bold, with 3 O's, Never Too Bold. And I'm doing a couple of collaborations at the minute on Instagram. I kind of want to go down the route that you don't have to have hair to feel confident. You can show your personality through fashion, through so many other things. Like, I'm currently collaborating with Lounge, which do underwear. And I never.
Oh yeah, you look awesome in those photographs.
I'm so jealous. I post a photo like that, but like, the fact that they want to collaborate with different people, and they're such a huge, they've got like 1 million followers on Instagram, and like, I just thought, you know what, why not? Like, you don't have to have hair to post a picture of yourself looking nice in something on Instagram. And then I did think about setting up a YouTube channel, but it makes
you and Faith should encourage each other to get that done.
Makes me a bit nervy. But yeah, I would like to do stuff like that, hauls, and just keep growing in confidence, really. I'm still with the modelling agency, so maybe coronavirus is kind of not helping that situation. But yeah, working out and stuff like that, releasing happy hormones and just trying to be happy.
Yay. Colette, I know you spoke about what you've been doing in the last meeting, but I think you guys would have to go through it again just in case someone didn't watch the last sort of forum that we had.
Yeah, so just carrying on, sort of being on Instagram and meeting more people on there, and I guess because of coronavirus, it's quite hard to get out at the moment, isn't it? But I definitely want to set myself like a challenge, like Jess did, with sort of going out and saying, oh, I'm going to go bald today, and making myself do it. And I think the more I do it, the easier it'll get. And then
Sorry. If you just drive somewhere bald, like in your car, just drive bald.
Yeah,
people are seeing you, but you're moving fast enough to not worry about it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I like that. Good place to start. Right, that's my first challenge.
I think Jessica should have said all the challenges that she did. It would have been nice to know, isn't it? Even just like quickly to just know what you did.
It's all on my Instagram. There's like 15
different
photos. Yeah, it's all on there.
Oh, okay.
And I might sorry, Faye, I might
no, actually Colette's still going.
Yeah, sorry.
You don't look alike at all. I was just getting really excited.
Well, I hope to do like a little music video with no hair. That's my next step, because that's something I can do at home and just get it out there. So yeah.
It's so funny you say that, Colette, because we are obviously, I shouldn't throw the plans out there of hair heels, because part of the work that I'm kind of planning for the future is all to do with the arts and modeling, fashion. Obviously, I don't know, you guys know I own Cheshire Fashion Week as well, so most of my plans is to have models walk in Cheshire Fashion Week as well, but obviously that's conflict of interest. But what you've just said about having these little videos, I'm looking at workshops, if this isolation continues, where we could have people within the community with similar interests do things together. So I'm literally planning as I'm talking. That's why I'm asking all of you guys these questions, to just find out what your interests are, because it seems like today I've managed to bring together people who are interested in the arts, like together, just to find out what is that you like and sort of how we could put them in. So I think, Colette, you can expect, if you start with your little video step by step, I think that's something we can make big in the future in terms of finding more people. That's why I asked you before, do you have a group, in terms of your arts that you meet with? Because I think having a group is crucial to, collaboration is crucial to making sure your talent grows and it's noticed. You need to kind of collaborate with brands, collaborate with different people. And if you can start small by doing your little sort of videos, they see that you have the confidence to do that, then they want to work with you, rather than instantly throw yourself in and then you get really overwhelmed by the opportunity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Sorry, Faye.
Finally.
So obviously I'm currently uni online at the moment, so that's occupying all my time at the moment, and I know my dissertation coming up, that'll be surrounded on alopecia, and the process for me to create that, I do want to use other people's stories, with obviously permission and use consent forms, to actually use that in my piece. Whether it'll be a film or whether it'll be a performance on stage, I don't really know yet, but I'm hoping to do a solo about my experiences and other experiences to raise awareness. So that's what my that's what my final dissertation is going to be on, and then I am in the process of also posting more on Instagram, with my fitness and my dancing as well. So I'm going, I know I want to go to Media City and to the park a bit and film some dance videos as well to post up. So it's a better background than my flat.
Hey, I'm sorry to cut you. You've just spoke about fitness. I know I haven't had this conversation with you, but the next forum we're going to have, we'll have Jasmine. Is it Yasmin, who's also into fitness? I think I said that to you.
Yeah, I remember
and wellness. So it's worth you looking at the 6th of February. That's when the actual forum is, seeing if you're free, because I think that's someone you'd want to connect with, because she's doing a lot of work as well with Hair Hills and with Alopecia UK concerning fitness and wellness. And she has some really good points, that things that I've never heard before, the challenges that people with alopecia face with work, you know, gyms, working with gyms and PTs and things like that, that people don't really care to literally listen to. She'll be speaking about that, so it's worth you coming into that as well.
Yeah, that'll be amazing.
If you have time. But yeah, continue. Where can people find you if they wanted to find you, Faith, on Instagram?
Yeah,
I'll go back to Colette because I didn't let her say that before.
Oh, I'm at Superbold.
At Superbold, yeah. Why are you laughing when you say at Superbold? I'm just curious.
I like it.
Cheesy, yeah.
Mine is at Faith Hiles Dance.
Okay. So yeah, I think we finished today's conference, and I could not thank all of you enough for coming and just speaking for like an hour and a half or 20 minutes. It's so nice to see, you know, women coming together to kind of talk about issues and open up, because this time is it's the right time to do what we're doing now, like literally. If you can do it within your time and catch up with each other and get to know each other and keep the connections going, even on a superficial basis. I know I'm not the best with technology, you've all noticed, and I might just delay in communication on Instagram or whatever because I'm not the best. But I think my aim from all these conversations is to keep in touch with each and every one of you, whether it's through a like or comment or share, one or the other. And I think from this, obviously, I want, after the isolation, for us to create a story that is going to be shared with these big platforms that obviously we're working with. So yeah, I think I'd like to say thanks to everyone. I'm going to stop the recording now, and then we can just have a chat after.